Welcome back everyone to Pontos Fathom Hobbies. This is Season 6 of Eldritch Horror, and it's our game playthrough of the Masks of Nyarlathotep expansion set. So last video we set up rough setup of the board. We've got the Mythos deck ready to go. I thought that this turn one we could read this Investigator backstories and jump right into it. So first off, just a quick reading of the Eldritch Horror intro. Eldritch Horror Mask of Nyarlathotep. It's got a little intro paragraph. It says, "The Charred Man." It says, Calvin Wright huddled in the corner of the empty barn. His tattered clothes were covered in dirt and bloodstains and reeked of death. It had been weeks since he'd been able to change them. The ringing in his ears was growing louder. "It is coming," Calvin thought. Sure enough, tenebrous tendrils of inky black smoke snaked their way towards him from cracks in the walls. Calvin stared ahead, unblinking, unflinching, as the tendrils lashed violently past him, slicing his cheeks, blood oozing from his flesh wound. He dug his fingernails into his forearm and clenched his teeth, and the vaguely humanoid shape of a creature had come to know too well. Appearing to be burnt from head to toe, the creature's skin was pitch black and gave off a faint orange glow as if burned from within. "What do you want, demon?" Calvin growled. The entity responded with a sound that sounded like snapping bones. He could not understand the words and felt his stomach churn with nausea. The being's disdain of Calvin was almost palpable, and it waved a single blackened arm in front of itself. Charred skin, still hot embers flaking from the limbs. The air shimmered, and Calvin saw within the image of an old dead tree an arcane symbol etched into its trunk. The being remained silent, but Calvin knew what it wanted. It wanted Calvin to break the seal carved into the tree bark. "I won't," said Calvin. Okay, so that's a little flavoring text. We'll read some more of that later. Let's jump in and talk about Calvin Wright, the Haunted. Calvin Wright, the Haunted, he starts in Buenos Aires with a spirit dagger. Corruption condition, 1 clue and 1 resource. So we'll give him a clue and a resource also. And his backstory says, "Sometimes life gives you a chance. Accept the lot which is given to you, or stand up for who you are and what you believe in." Calvin chose the latter. On the edge of death, bleeding out on the side of a dirt road, a vision came to him, a terrifying vision of the earth sundered, and Joao, his love of his life, turning to ash in the vortex of a blazing inferno. Then Calvin made another choice. He reached into the darkness and pulled it within him. He would not die today, not today. The world needed him. Joao needed him. So Calvin is the Haunted, and he also has a backstory that we'll jump into. So his backstory that we have to solve is, "A friend indeed. You are stronger than the evil that has infected you, stronger than the forces that pursue you, stronger than the circumstances that surround you, and you will not let them down. Not today, not ever. After performing your action ability, if you gave another investigator a total of 6 or more health and or sanity, discard this card and gain the Calvin's Will reward." So Calvin has got an action that he can trade any amount of health and sanity with another investigator on any space. Then he can perform an additional action. So he can give health to other investigators. If he gives 6 points, he gets this extra feature. So let's try to do that. Keep that in mind in the gameplay. So that's Calvin Wright. Next up, we've got Father Matteo, the priest. He's armed with the King James Bible, and he starts in Rome, Italy. His backstory says, "For all his life, Matteo had been a devout believer in the power greater than himself. Even as the political situation in Mexico reached a boiling point and violence erupted across the country, he maintained his faith in a just and benevolent creator. But when the bodies began to show up in his hometown, limbs mutilated and skin torn to shreds by some unnatural beast, Matteo started to wonder if there were by some unnatural beast. And was there any goodness left in the world at all? Now Matteo is in Rome, seeking guidance and answers from the Vatican itself." So his action is he can give one of his boon conditions to another investigator. And when he closes a gate during another world encounter, if he does not have a boon condition, he gains a boon condition. So he can trade boon conditions, basically. So that's pretty cool. Backstory for Matteo. In nomine Patris, in the name of the Father. As your words guide others through the darkness, you too will your faith guide you. When you give a boon condition to another investigator, place an Eldritch token on this card. If you have 3 or more Eldritch tokens, discard this card and gain the Charitable Father reward. So let's see if he can do that. So basically, just trading up boon conditions. So if he closes a gate, he gets a boon condition, and then he can give it away on any space. So both of these are great because you can give them to anyone on any space. So that's helpful. Lastly, we've got in Istanbul, Preston Fairmount, the millionaire. Preston Fairmount, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, Preston was doted upon by his parents and by all accounts should have lived a prosperous life free of worry and hardship. When his father died, he inherited an unimaginable fortune, but there are some things money cannot buy. Downtrodden and depressed, Preston wasted money on gambling and women until one night a seance performed by one of his girls brought him into contact with the spirit of his father and shed a disturbing light on the source of the family fortune. Yikes. Okay, so Preston Fairmount, the millionaire in Istanbul. Action. You and another investigator on your space may each perform an acquire assets action and or gather resource action. Once per round, you gain an asset. You recover 1 sanity. Wow, so he can recover sanity by acquiring assets. He has fine clothes as his item. And then lastly, his quest is wealth without work. You have been fortunate, far more fortunate than most. Ever since you began to question the origin of your family's fortune, you've been thinking of ways to share your wealth with others and atone for your family's sins. After you or another investigator performs an acquire assets action, if that investigator has 8 or more assets, discard this card and gain the philanthropy reward. So he and another investigator can perform an acquire assets and or gather resources action. So basically, if he's paired up with another investigator, they can double acquire assets, and then he can also give assets over to that person. And if he gets up to if the investigator has 8 or more assets, so maybe we can have him pair up with Father Matteo for now because they're close, and try to get a bunch of assets going. Okay, so that's the starting for the characters. Let's just put their health, and of course our great old one. Our great old one here is Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep. He has many names and wears many faces. He alone of the outer gods walks the earth, the puppet master pulling the strings of 1,000 cults, wearing the masks of 1,000 gods. So that's Nyarlathotep that we're up against. And so let's get right into turn 1. I will get these health and sanity tokens placed here. And the last thing is we have to place a expedition token on Tokyo, and we have to place an not sure about that one. We'll check on that one next. Okay, so beginning, let's have Preston Fairmount. He is our leader. He's going to start first. Let's just have him. He's going to move to Rome, and then he and Father Matteo will both perform an acquire asset in the spirit of his power. So we'll jump right into acquire assets. So Preston Fairmount, he can acquire assets using this. And then Father Matteo can perform it with 3 dice. So Preston Fairmount, acquiring assets, go. So he does not acquire any assets. But let's see if Father Matteo can try to acquire an asset. And he also does not acquire an asset. Okay, well, that's okay. He'll do a Roman counter there. So Father Matteo, let's have him go ahead and get a reroll, as we see that these are going to be important here. And he will also grab a, just in case, just collect a boat ticket here. So that'll be his roll. Oh, we also have to spawn a gate here. Sorry, we didn't spawn a gate. So the gate is in San Francisco, and we'll put some monsters there. We have 3 players, so it'll be a monster, 1 monster. And we get a ghast. A ghast is spawned on San Francisco. Okay, and then finally the turn goes to Calvin Wright. So Calvin Wright is in Buenos Aires, and he may trade any amount of health and sanity with another. So he can trade health and sanity to get an additional action. And then every time he trades, okay, so he doesn't have to do that just yet. So he will hold off until someone loses something. So let's have him get a ship ticket, and he's going to try to close this gate. So he'll take a ship ticket from Buenos Aires, and then, well, maybe, well, let's just have him, he can gain the ship ticket, and then he can move here. And, okay, so that'll be the action phase. Okay, so Nyarlathotep starts in space 12. Great. Okay, so we also have to turn over an active mystery. So let's just shuffle over these active mysteries. Oh, actually, we have a... Okay, so we also have a prelude card. So let's play this prelude card. It's called In the Lightless Chamber. Few know of the Dark Pharaoh, a ruler so heinous that all mention of him was often stricken from the record upon his death. But fewer know of the being of pure power. If playing without Under the Pyramids expansion, choose another... Oh. We're not playing with Under the Pyramids. So we have to choose another prelude card. Okay, so we'll take another prelude card. So instead we've got this one, Harbinger of the Outer Gods. The bloated woman's mourning, the Pharaoh claims the beast. Hear not the dweller's warning, the messenger comes so to feast. Within the haunter's darkness, the bloody tongue doth snake. The black wand roars across the sands, the lord of Kadath wakes. Upon resolving setup, if Nyarlathotep is the ancient one, each investigator gains 1 Eldritch token. Okay, each investigator gains 1 Eldritch token. Interesting. And they each and improve 1 skill of their choice. Okay, so let's have Mateo improve his observation, which seems pretty abysmal. So he can improve his observation. Preston will also improve his observation, because that's actually his will. Let's have Preston improve his will. And let's have Calvin Wright also improve his will, because his will is also pretty abysmal. Okay, so there's the guys. Improvement. Then it says... Okay, if Nyarlathotep, okay, but that's fine. And then we can go ahead and pick a mystery for the active mystery. And the active mystery says the Order of the Bloated Woman. Sir Aubrey Prehew, a devious mastermind with ill intentions, has been spotted in China. Your search lands you in Shanghai, where the Order of the Bloated Woman works to achieve some dark purpose. When this card enters play, set aside all the Order of the Bloated Women adventures, and then draw the Eye of Darkness adventure. Oh, okay, so there's a... Set aside all the order of the bloated women. So the order of the bloated women, 1, 2, 3. Order of the bloated women. Order of the bloated women 1, 2, and 3. And then we set aside then we draw the Eye of Darkness. So we're going from this adventure here. So we've got the Order of the bloated women. We're going to start with Eye of Darkness, and we can read that. It says, you are contacted by a stranger with a dark pact, a man named Jack Brandy. Together you work to uncover the true ambitions of the Order of the Bloated Women. When this card enters play, place an adventure token upon... I believe this is the adventure token. No, this is the adventure token. Place an adventure token upon Shanghai. So we've got an adventure token on Shanghai. When this adventure token is completed, okay, that's that. And then I think this Mystic Ruin I have to set up too. So okay, so this is on space 2. So that goes to space 2, I believe, right? Okay, so there's a Mystic Ruins encounter on space 2 here. And that's having to do with the number, right? Or no, is that not right? Yeah, okay. That's the Mystic Ruins token is there, and we're on space 2. Got it. Okay. All right, so now let's move into the encounters phase. So Father Matteo and Preston are in Rome. So let's have Preston go first, and he will just do a Rome encounter. So that will be, you read poems posted to the statue of Pasquino that restore your faith. Improve his will. Okay, cool. So his will improves more. You post your own writing. So he has to roll a check here with his influence. If you pass, you inspire others to share their wisdom. Improve one skill of your choice. Great. Well, he'll improve his lore then, because his lore is also kind of low. And now he can improve it. So he's got +1 to his lore. Okay. And that is the end of his encounter. Next is Father Matteo, also a Rome encounter. So Father Matteo in Rome, you spend 1 resource. You may spend 1 resource. Okay, I don't have a resource. If you do not have a resource, you fear you will never be worthy and you lose 1 sanity. So he's lost a sanity instead. So you may spend 1 resource to give alms to a beggar. He does not have a resource, so he has to spend a sanity, and he ends up losing 1 point for that because he doesn't have the resource. So getting some resources is a key thing to sort of collect maybe in this game. Cool. So that is Preston, Father Matteo, and Calvin Wright. So let's go to Calvin. Calvin Wright has his encounter phase. It is just in a city. So let's do that. You unlock a warehouse filled with crates. Gain 1 resource. Okay, cool. He's got 2 resources now. All right. And it says, later you tell the police that the boxes were yours. He can roll a check here. And he passes. If you pass, you uncover a rare object as you dig. Gain 1 relic unique asset. Okay, so I'll get him a relic unique asset in the break. And let's go ahead and roll the Mythos phase. So Mythos phase, Edge of Reason. So we start out at the top with the Mythos phase. We have a Advance the Omen. So the Omen advances. We have a gate open, but it's a green gate. Next, we have a Reckoning. The Reckoning here says investigators as a group gain Eldritch tokens equal to half their Eldritch tokens equal to half their number. So they gain 2 Eldritch tokens, and they can pass them out. I'll give 1 to Preston and 1 to the priest. Okay. And lastly, spawn a gate. So we can spawn a gate on the pyramids and place a monster there as well. And we get a Ravenous Gug as the monster. Pretty powerful. Okay, so that is the top. Then it says, you can see it in the mirror. Living amid all this horror has made you stronger and smarter, but it also has made you less human. You wonder if there was a moment of decision when you saw what the price would be and chose this mad path nonetheless, the Edge of Reason event. Each investigator gains a corruption condition may gain a corruption condition to improve one skill of their choice. Then each investigator with a corruption condition may gain 1. We don't want to gain any corruption condition, and we also don't want to play the game. So we're just going to say no. We're just going to opt out of these double-edged gifts, right? Because we know these things end up being things that have reckonings later. So everyone skips out on that for now. And that's going to wrap up turn 1. So I think we've got a good start here. A couple unlucky rolls. We've got the Order of the Bloated Women with the Eye of Darkness. So we have to start making our way to Shanghai. So that might be the path for Father Mateo and Preston. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Check out the links below. We'll be talking about the Necromancy of Nyarlathotep book by August Moldenhauer. Definitely go check out our bookstore link in the description below to check out a copy of that and help to support the channel. And we will see you in turn 2 over here. Comments appreciated below. Hey, we have a goal as we get into 2022 starts to approach 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit that, I'm going to start working on upgrading some of this show so that we can start doing live streaming. So that's some interesting stuff. Check out our Patreon below too, and thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys being here. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.